G'day guys, it's alright Taz, out just cruising on Dizzy Project XVS650. A lot of people have asked, how does it go? And in this video I wanted to talk about exactly that. How does Dizzy go? The simple answer is really well, and a lot better than stock. And some of that is because he's so much lighter than stock. We've stripped off, or Dizzy started as an XVS650A, the classic, weighs upward of 230 kilo. And we've stripped all the dresser guards off, stripped the front guard off completely. Small peanut tank on, done everything that we can to make the bike lighter and more nimble, and it's really worked. You can really feel the bike is a lot more chuckable. A lot of people ask, am I going to lower it? Absolutely not. I scrape the pegs way too frequently with it at the stock height, let alone if I lowered it. So I'm going to leave the bike at the standard height, and that will mean that it will remain at the geometry that Yamaha designed it. And in my opinion will handle better than if I mess about with it and lower the back end. Also get asked, am I going to put longer front forks on it? No. There's two options there. One is to get longer fork tubes, which is quite expensive, and I just flat out can't justify the cost of putting longer fork tubes on. And the second option is slugs that screw in, and such as those from Jono's Custom Cruisers or Justify Custom Cruisers. And I just personally don't think that they're particularly safe. So I won't be using slugs, and I can't justify the cost of putting 4-inch over longer fork tubes on it. So it's going to stay at the stock height and geometry, and I think for these roads that I ride on it will handle better because of it. Starting from the front, I put a 19-inch front wheel from a classic on it over the 16-inch stock, and I love it. I think it personally handles better. It's a narrower tyre, narrower profile, smaller tyre wall, has a bit more centrifugal force, and I feel I can lean into it a little bit better. I've never been a massive fan of a smaller front wheel. Always prefer a bigger one. So in my opinion, the bike rides better with the 19 over the 16. I run no front fender, and it looks super cool. It's not legal, so I do it at my own risk. And for these roads, where it rains constantly, I'm always getting stuff flicked up off the road and water spraying up over me, which for the cool look I could accept, but if this was a daily rider, I'd certainly be looking at putting a front fender on it of some description. But I'm running quite a few carby mods and intake mods. I started with a K&N chrome top filter, jetted the bike to suit that, run really well, looked good, but I didn't like the big intake snorkel that you could see, so I gave that the flick and I went Mikuni velocity stacks. They look fantastic, they sound great with some induction hiss, and with them jetted correctly the bike is noticeably more punchy. So I settled with 3.5 turns out on my air fuel screw, 130 main, 25 pilot, and lifted the needle 1 notch by using the E-clip, but that could also be done by using 2 shims. The bike has more torque, is punchier, and so with the lighter weight feels more nimble, and I'm not sure if it is, but it certainly feels quicker. I've also done an ignition mod by installing the Dynatec 3000. I'm running that on map 3, which gives me timing advance by about 5 degrees, and I've also lifted the rev limiter to 7.5, that's plus 500 RPM, which just allows me to take advantage of the higher top end performance that my modifications have allowed me. But it certainly has more top end than stock, and that's great because I'm an unrestricted rider and I like zipping around on these back roads at the speed limit. So I am probably more interested in increasing this as a Lance bike's top end rather than low end performance. I sync the carbs and set the idle at 1140 RPM. After messing with the carbys, you could feel it. It was out. It's lagged a little bit on the throttle, had a bit more vibration than it should. So I synced the carbys, and you could feel it run very smoothly. As well as the jetting, I cut 2 loops of the constant velocity slide spring, and that just allows that slide to go up and down quicker in response to the throttle. This gives me better throttle response, better performance. So all in all, I'm super happy with how the bike feels, how the bike goes, how the bike handles, how the bike looks. I love small to mid capacity motorcycles. Not been a particularly big guy, a smaller motorcycle or a lighter motorcycle is just fun because it's chuckable. So I'm super happy with how Dizzy goes. Am I going to get it dyno tuned? No. I can't really justify the cost where I feel it goes really well as is. Am I going to do any more significant modifications? Probably not. I'm pretty happy where it sits at the moment. There's just a couple of smaller things I've got to do before I consider it finished. So guys, just a quick vlog to give my impressions of the rideability of my modified XVS650. There's videos on all of those things that I've done to it. Feel welcome to go through the playlist and watch anything that interests you. My name's Alright Taz. Like, subscribe, share. Till I see you next time, guys. I'm out.
Uh-huh.